Hey YouTube, and thank you for watching Junkworks
And
DIY
here's the gun
Garage.
I'm going to be using here. It's just the Harbor Freight Cheapy. This thing gets great reviews, and I see why, because every time I've used it, it seems to work pretty good. In fact, this time it's probably been sitting inside this bucket, torn apart. I tear everything apart, clean it really good, and put in this bucket, is what I did when I put it away probably a couple years ago. And when I got it out, that you could see this black O-ring in here kind of was popped out a little bit, and I kind of tried to kind of push it in there a little bit just to kind of do that, and I didn't get it really good. Hooked it up to air, which it's 90 psi, by the way, no more than 90 psi, but that's what I'm pushing at the gun, or I mean at the compressor. Anyhow, and that actually popped back in there, and the only thing leaking on it is this piece right here that I put on it, which didn't come with it. The off and on valve is just letting a little bit of air through, but it really, I'll unhook it every time I quit using it. It doesn't really matter. Anyhow, so hopefully I'll be able to put stuff in this and start going to town, and I'm going to set you a little ways away while I do this. I do have I don't know, not really a review yet. Again, it was kind of just a first look and a slight review because I've used it a couple times, but just for like one wall. I probably actually have only sprayed a couple walls with this, and they weren't, you know, whole room walls. They were just a small two bedroom walls is all I've done. So honestly, I can't tell you whether or not this is a great gun or not, but what I've used it for as a homeowner, it's done really well. And there's several videos out here on this thing, or out there on YouTube on this, of even professionals saying it's not half bad. Only problem is it's got a really small, and I knew the name of hopper. That's what that is. A really small hopper on it, which it does compared to some of the other ones, but I also paid, you know, a tenth of the price probably for this than what some of the real expensive ones go for. So regardless, that's what I'm using. I'm not going to really do a big how-to tutorial. It's just going to be what this gun does, and a couple of years after just sitting in a bucket, if it still works. And also show you what I'm doing in the apartment here, because I am no professional at all when it comes to this stuff. The texturing, taping, mudding, and sheetrock stuff, I absolutely hate sheetrock and stuff. I kind of enjoy doing the texturing part. That's kind of been fun. And to push this Harbor Freight gun here, I'm just using a little Porter Cable pancake compressor. Anyhow, so far I've liked this compressor a lot. I have noticed that once in a while it leaks here, and I got to move this around and it quits leaking. So far that's been alright, but at some point I'm sure I'm going to have to fix that. But otherwise, all in all, I'm pretty happy with this and the guns for the most part. I'll have to do another update video on this. I do have a kind of a first look and using it a little bit video probably a couple years ago or more, and I really haven't used it a ton. I've used it here and there, but I have a big compressor in my garage, so really unless I'm doing something inside, I bought it more just because I knew these projects were going to be coming up pretty soon. We're inside the apartment here. I got that door all taped up so I can't go through there, but I do have it kind of going under the door, which is nice. It's a little bit less noisy in here. Got all my stuff in here. Well, I figured I'd kind of bring you along and show you what I'm doing as a homeowner, not as a professional. I'm just using the same stuff I've been, you know, spackling the walls with here. It's all-purpose light is what it says. Bredex, USG Bredex. Now I buy these 3.5 gallon boxes. They're like $9 at whatever home place you want to go to. And a couple years ago or more, quite a while ago, I bought this in the bucket here. It's a 4.5 gallon bucket, and I don't remember what it cost me for the bucket, but I just wash this out every time and clean it up real good and throw a new box into the bucket, throw the lid on it. And the last time, what I've done pretty much through this whole apartment, this stuff was sitting in my garage up on a shelf, and I don't have a heated garage, but it doesn't get super cold in there either, just by the way. but it lasted and I was able to reuse it. I put a little bit of water in to just kind of, you know, make it a little better, but it was pretty good right off the bat, maybe a little thick. So I added a little bit of water to it. Now with that, I also, every time I use this rag and I use it for cleanup, I'll go outside and I'll rinse this off and hose it off real good and use that for cleanup. And when I'm done, I throw the rag on there, and that allows the moisture from the rag to keep that in good shape regardless of however low it is. Now I just put a new box in here, so I got to mix this up. I just got to drill in a mixer. I'm going to put it in this clean bucket here and throw some water in it, mix it up to what consistency comes out of my Harbor Freight gun the way I want it to come out. From what I can see, it's kind of a peanut butter batter consistency is what this gun seems to work okay at, or even a little thicker. But regardless, those are things you're going to have to play with because I am definitely no expert. It's been a while since I've even done this last time, so I'm going to have to mess around with it. But clean water, clean bucket, compound, gun, that should be about all I need. Something to clean messes up with. And then I have this. I tried one of those plasticky big, I can't think of what they're not plastic, they're kind of a rubbery one of these, but they're bigger, and I didn't like it. I ended up with this cheap plastic thing here, and that's what I use. I like it, it works for me. I'm also doing kind of an older school where it's bigger patterns all over the wall, mainly because I suck at this yet again, and that's the most or least revealing of what bad things have happened on this wall while I've been fixing it. So I full on admit, I'm not good at this. But I'm doing it, it's way cheaper than what it costs to hire it done. So there goes my compressor. It obviously leaks a little bit. And I've actually scraped it across here. Now there's going to be cabinets here. That's kind of why I'm starting in this area, just to kind of get a, this is all going to be covered up for the most part. This will just kind of give me an idea. And I took a slab across there and it's still a little wet. So I'm going to let this sit and dry for a while and come back. I'm going to go ahead and start getting some new stuff in here. Now that's a thing, I've only been where I've done such small areas. I've been able to just use one of these, fill it up, use another one, finish off what I was doing, and then do the whole thing kind of thing. You don't want to do huge areas. In fact, this might be a little big, just for the fact that, you know, if this is dry over here, this will probably be drying not too long after this. So you want to follow the pattern you kind of took, and then that way you just don't get too much and wind up with big blobs on your wall that you don't want because you can't knock them down. So what I was saying is that I've never had to like refill it and do it and then wait a while and then knock it down and refill it, you know. So I don't know if I need to clean this in between each time, but I've kind of decided, I cleaned it this time, but I kind of decided after this I'm just going to start mixing up and fill this up cover it with a rag of some sort, and hopefully it won't dry out inside the hopper here. So we'll test that out, see if that works for me. I'm sure there's professionals out there laughing profusely right now, but regardless, I'm gonna get it done. Nope. Still pretty wet. I put it on pretty thick, so. Alright, well, in the camera you can't hardly tell anything, I don't think. We'll have to see when I do some editing. Up here you can kind of tell though where it's white behind there, just kind of what it does. Yet again, I want bigger splotchy areas and things like that. That's what I like. It may be not up for some, but that's what I like. I actually wish I could make them a little bigger, to be honest. Like kind of some of these areas here, I kind of like that. And to get that, you got to do it a little bit wetter. You can kind of see in this area, it turned out a little better for me. That's why I kind of started changing my technique over in this corner to try and get them to kind of lay out a little bit more. So in this corner, I put it on a little thicker. I started out a little thinner and got a little thicker as we went. And I do like the thicker, maybe a little less time in dry time, and I think this turned out about the way I wanted. So that's probably what I'll be doing for the rest of it. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of a clue of how to do it or what you need to do it, which is not much. I mean, I got a grand total probably to do this whole room. I don't know what the Harbor Freight gun is going for anymore, but I didn't pay very much for it. I know that. It was like on sale, 20% off, 30 bucks or something like that. I don't know. A couple of buckets, some water, and $9 worth of all-purpose compound stuff, joint compound, and you're at least good to go for a fairly small room. I'm pretty sure I can get this whole room because I have a lot left. That was just barely skimmed the top of that, and I got, you know, pretty much half that wall and half that wall on the top anyway done. So regardless, you can choose if it's worth it for you to go out and spend less than probably 70 bucks on everything to remodel your room, but I think it is. Well, I thought I should throw this in here. I had to go buy another box here. And this room, I don't know the measurements of it, but hopefully you'll be able to get kind of an idea. I was able to do that whole wall there, the whole kitchen wall, over here, this little wall next to them between the bathroom here and around the door, around that door, and all the way up to the window. I'll get back here. So there's the corner there, all the way up to this window. I have, you can kind of see right a little bit over the window there where I kind of had to stop. So I have the rest of this wall and this whole wall here that still need done. So I'll try and figure out the measurements for you, but I can't guarantee I'll get that done before I put this video up. So regardless, that might hopefully help somebody know about how much. And I did it, I'll admit it, admittedly, probably thicker than you need to. I could have definitely probably maybe thinned it down a little bit and wasn't wanting it so textured. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, that's fairly decent. It's pretty well a good texture, and there was definitely some spots like right here that I'm gonna have to kind of go over because it was such a bad spot here that I kind of gooped it in there, and just no matter how long I let it dry, it just kind of smudged across there and kind of filled in some of the problem, which is good, but I need to kind of go back over it a little bit. You can kind of see there's a really bad section here. I don't know what happened, but I put drywall screws in, patched it best I could. I did as much as I'm gonna do in here anyway. But regardless, it looks much better than it did. And I'll be able to finish this off. And yet again, a box of this stuff is less than $9. So there you go. Even if you have to buy a couple of them for a fairly decent sized room. I forgot, and one of these, you'll definitely need to go out and spend the, you know, about 50 or $2 that you got into one of these. But regardless, like I said, less than $100, and you can probably do a decent sized room like this. And I can guarantee you it'll cost a lot more than that for somebody to professionally do it. But I also can guarantee you if you go out and you hire a professional, it will come out much better. Probably. Probably better than what I'm going to do. But regardless, it's definitely good enough for who it's for, even though it's my mom and nothing is good enough for your mother ever. But I have to be happy with it because she needs to get in here. So I keep on striving for more and more, and it's just taking too much time. So I'm gonna finish this up, get her done. All right, thanks for watching Junkworks DIY Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and I'm obviously a master none. You all have a good one.